If you skip this video, nothing outside of you will punish you. But something inside of you may continue waiting at the same closed door, wondering why the greatest opportunities of your life always seem to pass just a little beyond your reach. It is no coincidence that you are here right now. Not yesterday, not next year, now. Because there are moments when life does not shout, it whispers. And if you are seeing this message, it may be because a part of you is finally ready to hear what another part of you has been avoiding for a very long time. Abundance recognizes the one who stays. Stay with that phrase for a moment, because by the end of this message, it may mean something completely different to you. This is not about forcing money to appear, controlling reality, or pretending that a single thought can solve every challenge. No, this is deeper. This is about the invisible posture with which you meet life, the silent agreements you have made with scarcity, and the way your attention may be rejecting forms of abundance before they ever reach your hands. Soon, you will understand why many people do not actually miss abundance because life denies it to them. They miss it because they are trained to abandon the doorway too soon. Later, you will discover the difference between chasing abundance and becoming available to it. And before this message ends, I will invite you into a simple inner practice that you can use whenever you feel disconnected from possibility. But first, if something in you already feels this, if your chest, your breath, your intuition, or even your curiosity recognizes that this message is not random, subscribe to this channel now, not as a casual click, but as a small, energetic commitment to keep returning to the frequency of expansion, reflection, and awakening. Let that click mean, I am willing to stay present long enough to receive what life is trying to show me, because some people will leave in the first minute and call it coincidence. Others will stay and begin to notice the pattern, and you already know which kind of person you came here to become. There are two ways to live in this century. One is to move fast, consume everything, react to everything, compare yourself to everyone, and still feel empty when the screen turns black. The other is to pause, to listen, to notice, and to begin asking why your soul feels called by certain messages at certain moments. One path keeps you busy, the other makes you conscious. And the strange thing is this: abundance rarely enters through the door of desperation. It often enters through the door of recognition. Recognition of what you already have. Recognition of what you keep ignoring. Recognition of the small inner shifts that make you more available to ideas, people, resources, timing, courage, creativity, and peace. Maybe you have felt it before. You had an idea, but you delayed it. You sensed a connection, but you ignored it. You wanted to begin something, but you waited for perfect confidence. Then, later, you saw someone else move, someone else act, someone else receive momentum, and a quiet voice inside you said, "That could have been me." Not as punishment, as information. Your presence here means that you may be ready to stop abandoning the first signal. You may be ready to notice the subtle invitation before it becomes another regret. You may be ready to understand that abundance is not only what arrives, it is also what you are able to recognize when it arrives in unfamiliar clothing. This is where most people get confused. They think abundance must look dramatic. A huge breakthrough, a miraculous deposit, a perfect person, a sudden rescue. But many forms of abundance begin as something softer. One conversation, one discipline, one uncomfortable truth. one idea that refuses to leave you alone. That is why this message matters. If you feel even one spark of recognition, give this video a like now. Let it be a signal, not to some magical force outside of you, but to your own attention. Let it say, I am paying attention. I am not asleep to my own life. I am here for the opening. Abundance recognizes the one who stays. This perspective is not usually shared openly because it sounds too simple at first. And the mind often rejects what is simple because it wants abundance to be complicated enough to excuse avoidance. If the path is too mystical, you can say you do not understand it. If the path is too technical, you can say you are not ready. If the path is too far away, you can say the timing is not right. But what happens when the doorway is immediate? What happens when the first key is not a secret hidden in a temple, but a decision inside your attention? For centuries, different wisdom traditions have explored the idea that the outer life reflects, in some symbolic way, the inner state of the person who lives it. Not as a rigid rule, not as blame, not as a guarantee, but as a mirror for reflection. The ancient mystic might call it alignment. The philosopher might call it perception. The contemplative might call it presence. The modern seeker might call it frequency. Different words, one invitation. Look at where your attention lives, because attention is one of the most valuable currencies of this century. Companies compete for it. Algorithms study it. Notifications interrupt it. Fear consumes it. Comparison steals it. And if your attention is scattered everywhere, your inner world begins to feel like a room where every door is open and no one is home. So the first revelation is this: abundance may not begin with receiving more. It may begin with leaking less. Less energy given to stories that shrink you. Less time spent rehearsing failure before you even begin. Less devotion to identities built from disappointment. Less automatic agreement with the thought, people like me do not get to live that way. Take this in slowly. You do not need to hate the version of you that lived in scarcity. That version was trying to protect you. That version learned caution, learned survival, learned to expect less so disappointment would not hurt as much. But protection can become a prison when it no longer knows the difference between danger and expansion. And here is the second revelation. Sometimes the door to abundance feels unsafe because it asks you to become visible. Visible in your desire, visible in your standards, visible in your willingness to receive, visible in your choice to stop apologizing for wanting a life that feels wider, brighter, more honest, more alive. What if the abundance you seek is not rejecting you? What if it is waiting for you to stop rejecting the version of yourself who could actually hold it? Do not answer too quickly. Breathe. Because this is where the mind may resist. It may say, but I have tried before. It may say, but life has been difficult. It may say, but I do not know where to begin. And all of that may be true. Your struggle is not being dismissed here. Your effort is not being erased. Your tiredness is not being judged. If you are still here, it means something in you is stronger than the old story. Write this in the comments. I am available to a greater abundance. Not because writing a sentence guarantees an outcome, but because naming an inner availability can help you notice where you have been closed. Words can become mirrors. Declarations can become anchors. And sometimes, when you see your own intention written in front of you, You begin to relate to yourself differently. Now let us go deeper. The third revelation is that abundance often arrives first as discomfort. That sounds strange, but observe your life. A new opportunity may require a new schedule. A new level of love may require vulnerability. A new creative path may require beginnerhood. A new financial possibility may require responsibility, learning, negotiation, or patience. A new spiritual opening may require silence where noise used to live. So if you have been asking for expansion but rejecting every uncomfortable invitation, you may not be blocked. You may simply be standing at the threshold, arguing with the door. This window does not stay open in the same form forever. Not because the universe is cruel, but because life moves, people move, timing moves, energy moves. The idea you ignore today may return later, but it may return with a different cost, a different lesson, a different level of urgency. That is the fear, gentle but real. The opportunity is this: while you are alive, aware, and listening, you can choose again. And the control is simple. Today you can stop betraying the first honest signal. Not every impulse is wisdom. Not every desire is destiny. Not every opportunity is aligned. But there is a specific kind of inner knowing that does not scream, does not flatter, does not panic. It simply returns, quietly, again and again. It says, pay attention here. It says, call this person. It says, create this. It says, leave that pattern. It says, learn this skill. It says, rest before you collapse. It says, you are not finished. Those who ignore these signs often call life unfair. Those who listen begin to see a different pattern. Not perfection. Pattern. If this is landing somewhere deep in you, like the video again as a way of sealing your attention to this moment, let the like mean, I saw the doorway. I did not walk past it unconsciously. Abundance recognizes the one who stays. There is a reason that phrase keeps returning. Because staying is not passive. Staying does not mean tolerating disrespect, delaying action, or waiting forever. Staying means remaining present with the truth long enough to receive its instruction. Staying means not escaping into distraction the moment your next self asks something of you. Staying means giving your future a place to land. And now comes the fourth revelation. The greatest abundance of this century may not be only material. It may be conscious attention in an age of distraction. It may be emotional regulation in an age of reaction. It may be spiritual clarity in an age of noise. It may be the ability to know what matters when everything is designed to pull you away from yourself. Because what is wealth without attention? What is success without presence? What is recognition without inner peace? What is a full calendar if your soul feels homeless inside your own life? There are people who gain more and feel less. There are people who achieve more and trust themselves less. There are people who appear abundant to the world while secretly starving for meaning. So this message is not inviting you to chase a symbol. It is inviting you to build the inner capacity to recognize, receive, and responsibly hold more life, more truth, more peace, more creativity, more connection, more aligned opportunity, more courage to act when the moment opens. Share this video with someone who has been doubting their own doorway. Not someone you want to pressure, not someone you want to convince. Someone whose spirit may need a reminder that abundance does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives as a video, a sentence, a breath, a decision, a quiet return to self. And now, for a moment, do not just understand this. Experience it. If it is safe and comfortable for you, let your shoulders drop slightly. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands rest wherever they are. Inhale slowly through the nose, or in any way that feels natural. Exhale gently, as if you are releasing a conversation you no longer need to keep having with the past. Again, inhale possibility. Exhale pressure. Inhale presence. Exhale comparison. Inhale the sense that you are allowed to begin again. Exhale the belief that you are already too late. Take a moment. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the surface beneath you. Feel the life moving through you without needing to be forced. There is nothing to prove in this second. There is nothing to perform. Just notice how much energy returns when you stop fighting the present moment. Now imagine a door in front of you. Not a golden door, not a fantasy door, unless your mind creates it that way. Just a simple door. Behind it is not a guaranteed future. Behind it is a deeper relationship with possibility. Behind it is the version of you who listens earlier, chooses cleaner, receives with less guilt, acts with more devotion, and rests without abandoning the dream. Place one hand over your heart if that feels right. Ask yourself silently, what form of abundance have I been rejecting because it did not look the way I expected? Was it help? Was it discipline? Was it visibility? Was it forgiveness? Was it a skill? Was it patience? Was it the courage to say no? Was it the courage to say yes? Let the answer come softly. Do not chase it. Observe. Allow. Breathe. Receive. Remember. This is the first inner practice. Every time you feel scarcity taking over your body, pause and ask, what abundance is already trying to enter in a form I have not respected yet? That question may not solve everything, but it can interrupt the trance of lack. It can create space, it can return your attention to the doorway. And if this practice brought you even a moment of calm, clarity, or recognition, like this video now to anchor the state, let it be your small physical gesture that says, I am not just listening, I am integrating. Abundance recognizes the one who stays. Now we enter the heart of the message. The abundance of this century belongs, in a symbolic and practical sense, to those who can remain awake while the world is being trained to scroll past its own soul. It belongs to those who can discern, those who can pause, those who can notice the difference between true expansion and shiny distraction, those who can receive without worshiping what they receive. This is not about being chosen above others. It is about choosing not to abandon yourself. But there is an archetype awakening in you, the part of you that no longer wants to live as a spectator of your own possibility, the part of you that has watched enough, delayed enough, doubted enough, the part of you that is beginning to understand that receiving more requires becoming someone who can steward more, not with greed, with maturity, not with arrogance, with presence, not with panic, with trust. You are beginning to remember that abundance is not just accumulation, it is circulation. It is the breath of life moving through ideas, relationships, service, creativity, rest, resources, and meaning. When you hoard from fear, you contract. When you spend your energy unconsciously, you leak. When you receive with guilt, you close. When you give from emptiness, you disappear. But when you stand in conscious circulation, something changes. You begin to ask better questions. Not, why does nothing ever happen for me? But, where am I not available to what is already being offered? Not, how do I force life to obey me? But, how do I align my attention, choices, and courage with the life I say I desire? Not, when will I finally be saved? But, what is the next honest action that my future self would respect? That is the shift. This is where identity begins to change. You are not becoming someone who magically receives everything without effort. You are becoming someone who can collaborate with possibility. You are becoming someone who notices openings. You are becoming someone who no longer confuses delay with denial, discomfort with danger, or humility with self-erasure. And still, this is only the beginning. There is more to remember, more to practice, more to refine. Because the old identity may still try to return. It may still whisper, "Who are you to want more?" It may still say, "Do not risk it." It may still dress fear as wisdom and call avoidance peace. When that happens, do not fight yourself. Witness yourself. Say, "I see the old pattern." Say, "I thank it for trying to protect me." Say, "I choose a wider response now." Write this in the comments. I choose the wider life. Let those words become a declaration of identity, not a guarantee, not a performance, a signal, a reminder, a line in the sand between the version of you that kept walking past the door and the version of you that is willing to stop, breathe, listen, and enter with awareness. Because the greatest abundance is not only what you receive, it is who you become while learning how to receive. There are those who have explored these ideas through symbols, rituals, contemplative practices, and inner disciplines for centuries. Some called it prosperity of the soul. Some called it right relationship with life. Some called it grace. Some called it alignment. You do not need to adopt any one language. You only need to test the reflection in your own experience. Where do you expand when you are present? Where do you contract when you are afraid? Where does life keep inviting you? And where do you keep pretending not to hear? These questions are not ordinary. They are keys. Use them tonight. Use them before you make a decision. Use them when you feel envy rising, because envy may be pointing toward an unlived desire. Use them when you feel resistance rising, because resistance may be guarding a threshold. Use them when an unexpected opportunity appears, because opportunity often looks inconvenient before it looks sacred. And remember this: if you skip the inner work, you may still chase outer symbols. But if you stay with the inner work, the outer world may begin to become a place of clearer choices, deeper gratitude, and more conscious movement. Again, no guarantee, no fantasy, no empty promise, just an invitation to stop living unavailable to the life you keep asking for. Abundance recognizes the one who stays. So how do you apply this today? First, reclaim your attention. Choose one place where your energy is leaking and close the leak gently. Maybe it is a habit of comparison. Maybe it is checking messages before checking in with yourself. Maybe it is saying yes when your whole body says no. Maybe it is postponing the one action that would restore respect for yourself. Second, name the form of abundance you are currently refusing. Be honest. Is it support? Is it visibility? Is it discipline? Is it rest? Is it learning? Is it receiving appreciation without deflecting it? Is it allowing someone to help you without feeling weak? Third, take one concrete action within 24 hours, not 10 actions. 1. Send the message, write the page, clean the space, make the plan, begin the practice, ask the question, save the amount you can save.